It was Leonardo da Vinci who once said, "I'd love to start a painting with accidental effects." And that's basically what we have here today for a little po-shot demonstration. This is all dry paint that had been scrubbed on, some reddish tone, a little bit of blue, a little bit of umber and red. And now we're going to make something out of that. So I'm going to start, and we'll put a little bit more red in the sky. This is naphtha red. Very fine, powerful red. And of course, anything that goes in the sky is certainly reflected in the water. I'm using a fan brush, and I'm going to stick with the fan brush because I can use very little paint and force it around to respond to what I want. This is using a lot of the corner of the fan brush, building up a tree over on the right side of the canvas. And you notice if you can leave little openings here and there, that'll just save it so that when you put the red in, it'll be a little more pure rather than working into a dark, wet paint. Over on the left side, some of the same thing. This will be a little lower tree. And then you have in the far distance, is there anything such as a close distance? Far distance, we have a little bit of soft tree line, and that's going to be, let me come down with this, both for reflections and for some bank work. So on the far reflections, the far distant trees will use a little blue. Now see, in this case, we're putting on things very early that will make a help for us, but at the same time you're kind of holding back. Now I'm going to put some reflections in the water. Holding back your lightest light. You're building to dessert. Building to the lights. And I'm going to push just a little bit of dark down in here so we have something for the strong gleams to butt up against, and they will give us a further contrast. Okay, so we have just kind of a semblance in there of what we want placed, and now I'm going to build a little lights, and I'm using a knife, and this is taking raw sienna and white, and I push that quite hard as I blend away from the first impact. And then we'll put some of this as a reflection down in the water. And this is what we're talking about, the straight path. So this will go right against the embankment there. Okay, let's go even lighter. So we take, this is white with a little yellow in it. This will give us a real strong light. I think the sun was trying to be in two places at once. And again, we'll continue this coming down there like that. Don't you have that strong gleam now? And what I would like to do next would be to put just a little bit of the reds reflecting around through the trees. Not reflecting, but they're just peeking through. Put a little bit of green on the bank. This is Viridian green and raw sienna. Both sides a little bit of that. We'll have more light on this side, so a little extra yellow on it, close to where the sun is coming. Now let's have just a little bit of pink. This is quinacridone rose and white. Just some little secondary clouds up above. So you have a large expansive sky, so we want to make sure that there's something happening up there with it. And I always like the idea of, let's bring some of the sky down into the water. I'll put a little bit of green in the foreground. And then what I think would be a kind of almost a finalizing thing is if you have some of the feeling of shrubbery growing at the shore. So I hope this gives you just a little indication how we go ahead and we put on paint for a pochade. And you could always add in tree branches and etc. So that's the stop.